we live? No, not yet. Okay, I think we're live now. Let me post it. Great. All right, so how are we doing this morning? We're almost done. Let's see, we have J, K, L, M, N, O, P, and Q. Not too shabby. All right. So for J, it says find the equation. Find the equation slope-intercept form. Maybe it's just find the slope-intercept form equation of the following information. So there's a typo in there. Let's fix that. Boom. So find the slope-intercept form equation from the following information. Then find the distance between the 2 points. Okay? So on number 1, for part J, so if it says f of 1 equals 3 and f of 2 equals 5, this is my x value. This is my y value. This is my x value. This is my y value. So we could say this is my first point, and then this is my second point. So to find an equation of any line, we need to know 2 values. We need to know a point and the slope. Well, I have a point. Okay, that's going to give me the point 1, 3. Now I need to know what the slope is. So to find the slope, we use the slope formula. The change in y over the change in x. So 5 minus 3 over 2 minus 1. That gives us 2 over 1, which is 2. So that's my slope. So now, I said we need to know the slope in the line, the slope in a point. So we use the point slope formula. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So I get y minus 3 equals 2 times x minus 2. Sorry, 1. I was looking at the other point. So then the 2 distributes, so you get y minus 3 equals 2x minus 2. Add 3 to both sides. Plus 1. So that is the slope-intercept form. So we have the point slope. We have y equals mx plus c plus b, which is the slope-intercept. And then we have the ax plus by equals c. That's the standard form. So it wants the answer in that form. So the next piece, it says find the distance between the 2 points. So to find the distance, use the distance formula. And so the distance formula is the difference between the x's squared and the distance, sorry, the cord for the webcam fell. There we go. And then it's the distances between the y squared. So my x values, so to be the square root of 2 minus 1 squared, and then the y's is 5 minus 3 squared. So we just need to simplify that. So 1 squared is 1 plus 5 minus 3 is 2. 2 squared is 4. So my distance is the square root of 5. So there's the slope-intercept form equation and the distance between the 2 points. Comments or questions on that? Now for number 5, it says find the equation of the line that contains a point. So we have to create a line, we need a point and a slope. So we need to know what the slope is, and it says and it's perpendicular to that equation. So I need to know what the slope is from that equation. So an easy way of finding the slope is getting it into y equals mx plus b form. And then the perpendicular to that slope. It's opposite reciprocal. So you change the sign, and then you have to switch the numerator and the denominator. So you flip it. So part K, this is all unit circle stuff. So sine of pi thirds. We got to think where pi thirds is on the unit circle. And so that's going to be 1/2 root 3 over 2. So the sine value is the y value. So my answer is going to be root 3 over 2. Secant of 2 pi fourths, so like number 7. Well, the 2 pi fourths, that reduces into pi halves. So I need to think of where's the secant of pi halves. Well, secant relates to cosine. It's the reciprocal of cosine. So if I find what the cosine is, the reciprocal would be the secant. So up here, my cosine value is, so it's the point is 0, 1. So my cosine value is 0, or should I say 0 over 1. So the secant of that is we have to flip it. So you're going to get 1 over 0, which is undefined. Tangent is sine over cosine. So at 3 pi fourths, so like on number 6, 1 pi fourths, 2 pi fourths, 3 pi fourths. So my rotation is all of this here. Okay, so the sine over cosine there. So negative root 2 over 2 over negative root 2 over 2. So that's going to be equal 1. Any comments or questions on part K? It's probably a really quick and easy review of the unit circle, hopefully. All right, part L. Solving where x is between 0 and 2 pi. So let's do a quick review with the first one. So I have cosine of x equals 1/2. So I have to find all the values for x that are going to give me 1/2. A way that we do this is we isolate x. So cosine inverse to both sides. So I get x equals cosine inverse of 1/2. So I need to think where on my unit circle is x going to be, or my cosine value going to be 1/2. And so we have to think about what angles give me that. And so that's at pi thirds and 5 pi thirds. So we're going to say pi thirds plus 2 pi k. And it says 0 and 2 pi. Okay. And then we also have 5 pi thirds plus 2 pi k. Now remember, k is an integer. But this is not what we're looking for. We're not looking for the all possible solutions because x is by itself. We're finding the very specific values between 0 and 2 pi. So we actually have to plug in values for k. So we have to test them. So for example, when k is 0, If I plug in 0 for k, I'm going to get pi thirds. If I plug in 0 for k, I'm going to get 5 pi thirds. Now if I plugged in 1, pi thirds plus 2 pi k is greater than 2 pi, so I don't need to test anymore. Comments or questions on that? I'm hoping that like, oh yeah, like there's like that faint memory of that's how we do it. Let's try number 3. So I have 2 sine squared x plus sine x equals 1. So because I see sine squared, I need to think a few things. One, maybe there's an identity. Well, everything is sine right now, so no, there's no identity for that. The second thing I need to think about would be where does, or that it could be quadratic. So if it's quadratic, set it equal to 0. Minus 1 equals 0. So how does this factor? So 2 sine x and sine x. I could also say u equals sine x, if that helps you. So you get 2u squared plus u minus 1 equals 0, if that helps you factor it. So we can do that u substitution. And so factors of 1 is 1 and 1, so you get a positive 1 and a negative 1. So that's going to give us a positive 2 sine x and a negative sine x, so that's gets us that. So then I could set each of those equal to 0. So 2 sine x minus 1 equals 0. Sine x plus 1 equals 0. 2 sine x equals 1. Divide by 2. So the sine inverse to both sides. And then over here, minus 1. Sine inverse to both sides. So since we're not doing anything special, there's not like 2x or 3x, there's nothing that's getting divided, right? It's just an x. Technically, we don't have to do the whole 2 pi k thing, because that only changes, like the values itself would only change if it said 2x or 3x or 4x or 5x or 1/2 x or something. So since it's none of that's actually changing, the values on the unit circle that are going to give me 1/2 for sine are going to be pi 6 and 5 pi 6. And then where my sine is negative 1 is going to be 3 pi halves. Comments or questions on that? So, just a few of these. Like number 6, because I have sines and cosines and they're squared. Maybe I should change my sine x into 1 minus cosine squared x. That's an identity. And so I get 1 equals, if that's minus 2 cosine squared x, I can bring it to the other side. Right? That's a way of doing it. Divide by 2, square rooting, so you get 1 over root 2 equals cosine x plus or minus which 1 over root 2 is the same as root 2 over 2. So those are the same thing. For number 8, if you notice it says cosine squared. So this is dot, dot, dot. You'd have to continue finishing that. But it says 2 cosine squared x plus 2 sine x equals 1. So this cosine squared x, we have to change that into sines so we can use whatever we need to use. So it's probably going to be quadratic. So we need to make sure everything is sines for us to be able to use the quadratic. So I would do 1 minus sine squared x. And if we're thinking, oh no, I forgot my identities, we gotta practice those. 100%, we gotta practice those. And then that would be plus 2 sine x equals 1. Okay, so any questions on L? So I did the review for J, did the review for K, did a review for L. Are there any specific ones on any of those that you would like to see? Okay, well, great. Well, thank you very much for showing up and study hard. Tomorrow's Friday. There's not going to be a stream tomorrow, so I will see you guys Monday of next week. On Monday, we should be able to get through M and N, and then Tuesday should be O, P, and Q. So we'll be able to finish up by Tuesday, and that'll give us some time to get whatever we need to get finished up before Thursday. So, okay, well, have a great weekend, and I will see everyone on Monday.